of renewable energy and electric vehicles. This is our last show of the year, and we thank MV Energy for being a sponsor of Green Alliance and also for our radio show program. We'll be taking off both Christmas, which is a Monday, and New Year's, which is a Monday, and we'll be back on January 8th, Monday, January 8th. So to wrap up this year, I just wanted to talk a little bit more with Marie about some of the basic programs for consumers that are offered through the utility. And we were talking last segment about renewable generations. Anything more you wanted to cover on that?
So I think, obviously renewable generations, like we talked about, has the different distributed technologies. Like we said, the EV program will be a little bit more robust as if you understand the energy efficiency in DSM, where it'll be a little bit more functional. So as we design out the EV program with storage and with solar, we're trying to push into a market to make sure that the underserved communities are served. And so we've said we wanted to focus on workplace charging, fleet electrification. Oh my goodness, why is this not coming off the top of my head? Workplace charging, fleet electrification. We're working on the corridor or the Nevada Electric Highway with the governor. So Governor Sandoval did an MOU with the 7 governors in the West, and so they will be going towards FAST Act compliance. So we're actually working towards having DC fast chargers every 50 miles on the highway. And
this is going in 7 states, not just Nevada, connecting to California.
That's incredible.
That'll be something. So it's like
that's exciting.
Like paving roads here for electricity.
Yeah,
for electric vehicles.
The corridors are pretty fantastic. And then on top of that, Electrify America, which is a company that came out of the Volkswagen settlement. They as well will be deploying electric vehicle corridor infrastructure in Nevada as well. So they'll be developing Interstate 15 and Interstate 80 over the year of 2018. So we'll be seeing a lot more, to ease the ratings anxiety that corridor development in pairing with Electrify America and with the governor's objective, there's no more, you can't say range anxiety anymore.
And these will be DC fast chargers, so they're able to recharge, say, a Nissan Leaf in like 20 minutes to half an hour rather than, say, 3 or 4 hours. So that's a good program to have in place. Tesla has its own supercharger system, and they have a kind of proprietary charging system, but there's also DC fast charge systems that work with the Chevrolet Bolt EV, with Nissan Leaf, Kia Soul EV, BMW i3. So those are, as that infrastructure gets built out, will really enable more people to feel confident about going on the road and going anywhere. So that's exciting.
It's even more interesting, as we call them superchargers. There's the development of the technology, as we keep going back to that changes the world. They're going towards ultra superchargers now, and so the goal is to get it such that so people feel comfortable in their conversion to get it less than 10 minutes for a full charge. So it's an incredible amount of power.
That's wow, a lot of juice.
and if you think about the same thing, Tesla and other companies like Cummins have announced their electric semi. And so there's lots of different things that are going to demand an incredible amount of power. But going back to the consumer products, you'll have that corridor development so people feel comfortable on the highways. Providing a workplace charger incentive so that if you don't have charging at home, you can charge at work, and it's also a great benefit for employees to provide their customers, and we're hoping to have a great program with that. The other one that I couldn't remember is multi-unit dwellings.
Oh, right. Apartment complexes, condominiums, where you have many people in kind of a smaller space. Yeah.
Right. And so we're also trying to make sure that we're serving the underserved community as well. We're also talking with the state on how we can make an additional program on top of the multi-unit dwellings to make sure that we get into these low-income and mixed-income apartment complexes, because that one is definitely one that we know that it's the chicken before the egg,
if I don't have a garage in my apartment complex, how do I plug in at night? So that's good. That's great to have like common areas where they can have recharging stations. I've actually seen that a lot. The high-end apartment communities that are coming up, especially on the west side, they offer electric car charging as an amenity, and it's advertised in their documents. So that seems to be more of a trend lately on newer apartment communities. So that's fantastic. Great to see. Also, can you talk a little bit more about storage, about using battery backup systems for the home, and how that's going to play out with MV Energy?
So that's another part of Senate Bill 145. So there will be an incentive developed and available in 2018 to pair with your solar systems. And I mean, I think that's a big part of people want to be able to store what they don't use. Grid resiliency, you know, there's a multitude of different values associated with storage. But it'll be great to be able to provide to people the ability to develop the storage market here in Nevada and pair it with solar so we can, you know, reduce our carbon footprint and all that jazz.
Harness the sun and use it at night.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I think it's great for everybody. Distributed resources is really where everything is going, and so it's better for our grid. And you know, it's not as fun to say there's all these great different components about it, but there will be, you know, or I'm just excited about EVs. But for storage, there will be an incentive, and it'll be paired with solar, and it'll be a great another way for our customers to deploy those types of resources at their home.
And something about storage too, it actually helps kind of clean up the grid. I mean, when you get a signal into your home through your AC outlet, sometimes, you know, it has varying or changing levels of voltage and current coming through, and so when you first turn on equipment and that sort of thing, you might get a little surge, or, you know, that sort of thing. But when you have that power
balance it.
Balancing, yeah, it's like a capacitor or something right at your house, so it kind of buffers as the power comes in. I think it'll kind of help the grid, plus help give you better rate reaction as well.
I think, yeah. So I mean, you compare it with the time of use, and there's a multitude of, you know, it's whether you're a consumer, whether we put it on the grid. You know, storage it's more than just lithium-ion in the box. There's a multitude of different things about it. So, you know, there's utility grade solar that we can pair out there with a solar, you know, a utility scale solar, so that it's, you know, its own source of resource. There's also consumers, business customers at, you know, peak shaving.
Right.
We can also do it with a transmission and distribution deferral. Rather than setting, you know, a new substation, we can pair solar and storage there to reduce the investment that we have to do.
So you have more tools, more.
It's an amazing tool, and the toolkit is incredible.
Wow,
so it's a very fancy box that can do a ton of things for the grid, for consumers, whether it's residential or commercial, or the utility scale. So we're all very excited about it. It's, you know, everyone in the industry is figuring out its best deployment, and, you know, costs are dropping significantally.
That's amazing. Speaking of utility scale, you were in the news today. I was looking at the Las Vegas Sun.
Oh, were
this
we?
morning, and, yeah.
That's shocking.
Actually, really good news. So you were involved with Switch as a partner with Switch in putting together 2 new solar farms out in Apex, just north of here. So can you tell us a little bit more about that, how that came to be?
Sure. I mean, I'm not the definitive person to talk about it, but it's inside of our organization, and that's another one of the toolboxes that the utility or NV Energy can provide to our larger customers. It's the Nevada Green Rider. So what we do when larger customers and more want to go renewable, it's very important to them and their customers. And so we develop resources on their behalf and enter into a power purchase agreement. So it's the ability for our customers to go 100% renewables and at an incredible price. And, you know, it's more than just Switch, and we're excited to continue those relationships, whether it's the city of Las Vegas and all those other ones. So that's another one of the toolboxes that if you've got a very large load, and the data centers of Switch do, you know, we get to build out big projects that is bringing on more renewable source systems. 176
megawatts between the 2 solar farms. And that's going up in Apex, right next to the Moapa Paiute reservation. They just put 300 megawatts of solar out there. So it's amazing how we're starting to harness that sun and getting some serious power out of it too. That's
right?
Awesome.
No, I mean, it's fantastic. Nevada's doing great. You know, the growth is there, the economic development is there. We're going to have new increased load, and so, you know, the more that we can serve it with renewables is fantastic. And, you know, we have all, in addition, you know, we have these businesses that's important to them, and that's
right.
Another great development for the state.
There's a commercial side of your programs as well. We're mostly talking about consumer today, but commercial businesses can also tap into these resources as well.
Absolutely. That's, you know, whether it's the rider or the incentive, so the renewable generation solar incentive. They have it for small and medium commercial customers. We also have it for low income that gets partnered with, whether it is that low income to medium mixed use housing, or it's nonprofits. You know, it can work for anybody.
That's fantastic. So if someone sees a program on your website, how do they apply for it? Do they go through the website or through my account to apply for that? Or?
So for the solar incentives, the current ones, there's a website that you can apply on. I don't know the phone number off the top of my head, but we also have a customer service contact center that if they have any questions, they can call into that as well. But your first stopping point is definitely nvenergy.com.
Thank you very much. We'll talk some more when we come back about the NV Energy PowerShift program. Thank you very much.